All right, Marty York, welcome to Out of the Spotlight.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I am so excited to chat with you. I feel like this has been long overdue. I've been waiting for the right moment to ask you to come on. And I was like, this is it. It has to be now. So
how many years ago was it that we met? It was 2000. It was like right before COVID, right?
I was about to tell, yes, it was literally weeks before COVID. Like, I think that was probably one of the last big events that I covered was when I met you and the guys and I got to interview y'all. And I think it was like days later when the world shut down. And I was like, I remember thinking, well, at least I got to do a really cool interview.
You got to do something cool before,
Something cool. No, and y'all were just so down to earth. And I remember y'all were signing so many baseball bats.
Yeah. We signed quite a bit of bats that day, and the hardest thing to sign is the baseballs, the actual baseballs, because you're like, well, for one, I got to find a spot after all the other guys sign it. Also, you got to find the right pen to write on the balls.
Do you use like the very fine, thin Sharpies?
No, actually, I just the ballpoint pen.
There you go. Yes. Okay.
Some kind of lacquer on the ball. So if you use a Sharpie, the ink will come off.
I should know that. And I clearly don't. That's so cool. I just learned something new. No, well, it was awesome. Yeah, that was such a cool event. So shout out to Ryan Fitterman. He's good people.
Yeah.
I will forever be loyal to that event, especially if you guys are there. That was it was so crazy to see so many fans, so many people excited to see you guys. And it was such a cool lineup. And like I said, you guys I still remember, I was like, okay, well, I have to chat with them now, but they are so focused, but I'm going to get in there. And it was fun. Good times.
Yeah. We try to sign all the stuff as fast as possible.
I remember that.
Yeah.
And I mean, now, I know you've been so busy and it's only April, but obviously there's a little anniversary happening. No big deal. 30 years, the Sandlot.
30 years. I don't want to be coming out on a walker, and doing this, but I'm going to milk it.
And it's so amazing to see the film just get bigger and bigger each year. I mean, I truly believe that, and it speaks for itself. I mean, you guys have been everywhere, and it's such a very historical, film, and there's just so much excitement, especially this year. And that to me, and I'm sure to you guys, it just proves just how much it means to so many people.
Yeah, we just did we were in Utah. We went back to Utah 2 weeks ago, and we sold out the Kingsbury Hall, which is a giant old theater in Utah University. And it was really cool because we were backstage. It's where they do a lot of plays. They've been doing like plays there and things like that since the 1920s. So it was really a cool theater. And me and the guys were sitting in the back, and as like the movie was playing, we were backstage. Listen, everybody was doing the lines as we were doing them, in the theater. So like when the most popular lines would come on, "You're Killing Me, Smalls," and all those lines, the crowd would do the lines with the movie, and it was really an awesome experience. And then it was a really cool experience, and even meeting people that were extras in some of the scenes, like the pool honey scene, and
really,
they came and showed up, and they were telling us stuff that we didn't even know, like. It was funny to see your guys' teeth chattering when you guys were doing the pool scene, and yeah, it was cool.
Oh, that's so awesome. And I do remember the pool scene. I mean, when you're like, for me, when I was young, you don't look at little things, but the older I got, I was like, those kids are cold. They're cold. Like, I'm telling you, like, they look almost blue. Like, I can tell.
That's still the coldest pool to this day that I think I've ever been in. You
guys were doing the ice bath before it was like the thing to do.
Yeah.
We're doing like the cold plunge.
Feel revitalized afterwards, So
maybe that was the secret. That's what's kept y'all so young. Y'all look so great.
I know. It was the ice bath 30 years ago.
Yeah, I love it. Also, by the way, I have to throw this in. The actual release date, like the actual anniversary date, is it April 7th? Am I right?
I think so. When it came out in theaters?
Yeah. Was it?
I think so.
I looked it up, and I don't know. Sometimes I don't trust what I see online. So I was like, is it or is it not?
I don't even know. I don't even remember.
Well, hopefully it is, because if so, we're celebrating 2 anniversaries. Out of the Spotlight came out last year, April 5th. So if
Wow.
The Sandlot was released actually April 7th, happy anniversary to us
Happy anniversary to Out of the Spotlight.
and to The Sandlot. No, well,
Yeah.
I am so excited to chat more, and I always like to start this off with kind of going back in time a little bit. So tell us, where did you grow up? Where are you from?
Yeah. So I'm from Northern California, even though people think I'm from Brooklyn. And I did theater since I was 5. So I started doing theater when I was 5, and I did about 15 or 20 plays from like 5 to 10. Yeah, I did a lot of like Snow White and the Seven Dwarves, Rotten Rock and Red Rock, Cheaper by the Dozen. I just did a bunch of plays, and the lady that owned the theater company, when I was around 10 years old, said, "You need to take this kid to Hollywood and see if you can get him an agent and get into, have him do real acting jobs." At the time, my parents were splitting anyway, and my mom basically moved me out here when I was about 10, and it was kind of a rough start coming out here and leaving all my friends in Northern California. It was a small town, and I moved to LA, and it was so big over here and lots of traffic and crazy stuff. We kind of struggled like where to live and stuff like that at first. And my mom's sister, my aunt, was an extras casting agent. So my mom, she said, "Hey, can you get us any extra work, like background work and stuff?" And my aunt said, "Yeah, I can. Actually, I have a movie with John Candy in it. You guys could be in."
Hello.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
John
Okay.
Candy was like huge, like
Yeah.
Uncle Buck and Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, and so we were in the film, and then when they said cut during one of the scenes, I started doing John Candy's lines when I was like 10,
Oh,
and all of a sudden I felt a hand come up from behind me, and he goes, "That was pretty good, kid," and I turned around, it was John Candy.
stop. That's so cool.
Yeah, and so I go, "Oh, hey," and he's like, "That's pretty good." He's like, "Are you an actor?" And I go, "Well, I'm trying to be." And he said, "Here's my autograph." And he took out a piece of toilet paper out of his pocket and signed the autograph. I don't know why he had a piece of toilet paper in his pocket, which is weird.
But I'm like thankful for it because now we have that
Yeah,
story to tell.
yeah, and I still have the signed piece of toilet paper
Oh,
that he
wow.
gave me. So after that, I knew I wanted to be an actor. And my mom asked my aunt, "Do you know where we could find an agent?" And she put some calls in, and one of the places I went to was Media Artist Group. And I auditioned for them, and they said, "Hey, we'd love to sign in. We have an audition for him today, actually, if you guys would like to go for a Colgate toothpaste commercial." I was like, "Okay." So it's my first audition ever, and I went to the audition, and there was like a ton of kids there, and I went inside, and there was like all these lights and casting directors, and it was kind of daunting. And they said there was another little girl in the room, and they're like, "You have to dance with this little girl," and I was like petrified. Like I was like, I hid behind the chair. My first
Oh.
audition. I was so scared. And so they coaxed me out. They said, "Come on, you can do it." And so I came out, and I was like, didn't know how to dance. So I like remember from like a play I did in Northern California where I saw an older couple dancing in one of the plays I did. So I just copied that, and I
Mm.
ended up getting the part.
Yes.
My first thing, I got it.
Good
And so
job.
yeah, and then they called me back and said, "We want him to." I didn't have to audition. They're like, "We would like him to play a little Italian kid in a ragu spaghetti sauce commercial." So I did. That was
Wow.
the second thing I did.
Nice.
And my mom was like, "Wow, this is easy." And then after that, it was a struggle. It was like literally like going on auditions, not getting anything.
Mm.
And then a year after that, I auditioned for Sandlot, and I auditioned for Bertram originally. I didn't even audition for Yeah. I auditioned for a different character. And it
Okay.
was a treehouse. In the treehouse scene, there was like there was more lines, and they didn't have the whole thing with Squints telling the story. And so I did the lines of Bertram, and I got a call back, and I ended up getting booked in the role of Bertram for Sandlot.
Stop. Okay.
Yeah,
Wow. That would have been so different.
yeah, it was cool. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. I do that. Like I can't. I don't even like know it sometimes. I just say it. It's weird.
I love it. Copyright that.
Yeah, I know, right? I should. But we went to a baseball field, and they kind of lined us all up and said, for training for the movie to play baseball because we weren't that good when we first started.
Yeah.
And I went to the field, and they kind of lined us all up and just said, and then they called my mom and me over and they said, he doesn't really fit this role. I was like, oh, that's it. That's the end of the road for me, of doing this. At the time, I didn't even know what it was. I was just like, oh, it's about baseball. I wasn't even really a baseball fan. I played soccer growing up, so I was a soccer fan.
Oh, nice.
So they said, we'd like to actually have him audition for a different character in the film called Yeah Yeah. And he was a bigger character. And this character was like small and skinny and had tons of energy. And I was like, yeah, that sounds awesome. So I had to go back to the drawing board and I had to re audition. And they said, look, he needs to bring a ton of energy to this character. So I went to the local liquor store. My mom got me not liquor, but she got me a big Hershey's Kiss bar. I got a big Hershey's
Oh,
Kiss
to get
bar.
you all hyper and stuff.
Yeah, to get hyped up on the chocolate, and the sugar.
I love that.
So it was like one
Good
of those
job, Mom.
giant ones. And she's like, eat the whole thing. So I ate this whole Hershey's Kiss bar. And I was like, whoa, it's like crack for kids. And
That should be like the commercial for like a Hershey's chocolate. Like, you want to book the audition here?
kid, kid doing lines of like Nestle Quick,
Chocolate.
getting hopped up on the Quick.
Love it.
And so I went in there and I blew them away. And they said,
That's so cool.
I remember I got a standing ovation from the director. And that was it. I became Yaya at that point. And so then we really went and trained to play baseball. And it was like about 2 months of intensive training. And our coach was actually Daniel Zacapa, who played Squints's, who was it? His grandpa or great
Oh,
grandpa
like during the
Squints
story?
during the story.
Story time? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great
So
grandpa.
that was actually our coach.
They actually look a lot alike.
With the glasses on, they do. But that guy actually had done all the stuff. But he was a good baseball player, and he trained us, and we trained for about 2 months in LA before we flew out to Utah. And yeah, the rest is history. Flew out to Utah and shot the movie in about 45 days.
Did that feel like a long time to you, or did it feel like it flew by, a 45-day shoot?
It was just a fun summer. It was a fun summer.
Wow.
It was like lots of like off camera stuff. I remember more off camera stuff than I do on camera. But doing all these signings over the years, I remember a lot more now. Like when the guys bring things up, and even going back, we went back to the Sandlot 2 weeks ago when we did this theater, and yeah, we stood on the actual field with because we've been on the field, in the past, but it's normally for the anniversary, and there's hundreds of people in the field. You don't really get a chance to see it, just see it raw, and seeing it raw was an experience, an eye-opening experience. Like, wow, this like field changed our lives. It was funny because there was a bunch of Air Force people that had just literally flown from Florida to Utah just to see the field.
Stop. That's what I'm saying, how huge this is. So they were just planning to just see the field, and there y'all were.
I kind of nudged Squints and I go, hey, let's go surprise them.
Yes. Yes. And what was that reaction like? Did they believe y'all right away? Like, it's really you.
Well, it's funny because we called because there's an owner of the house that can let you onto the property because it's still on private property. So
Oh, okay.
typically you can't walk onto it unless you walk through somebody else's property. We went up there and said, hey, we're in the movie. And the guy led us on the field. And the people kind of looked at us because Chauncey had glasses on. He was looking like Squints. And they kind of looked at me and they go, wait a minute, are you guys are in the movie? And we go, yeah, it's us. Like, holy shit. So like that was a cool experience. They're like, dude, we literally flew down here just to come see this field, and we're meeting the actual characters from the movie. So that was a cool experience.
The timing and just the fact that you guys are able to bring that sense of happiness, right, to people. I mean, that's tremendous. I love that. And again, I've seen you guys firsthand just being so kind and so fun. And it's just, yeah, it's awesome. And I mean, when you speak to your, I don't know, mom or producers or people that were maybe a little bit older than you guys during the film, did anyone imagine it would be this big?
I mean, we knew it was going to be something special, but we didn't know it was going to be what it became. This like juggernaut of like this baseball film that we would be coming back 30 years later for and selling out theaters and going to baseball, major league stadiums. And, I mean, just the amazing stuff I've seen, like as far as the sports world goes, like, cause we do a lot of sports cons and things like that. And just doing MLB stadiums and standing next to MLB players saying like, you're the reason I'm here. Like, you're the reason I play baseball. Like, we stood next to Matt Kemp at the 25th anniversary, and he like nudged me and goes, "Man, you're the reason I played baseball." And I was like,
Stop.
"What?"
What?
And it blew me away. And then even after Kobe Bryant died, who's my favorite athlete of all time, somebody sent me a video of him on Kelly Clarkson shows talking about how Sandlot, it's his yearly 4th of July tradition to watch Sandlot. And I was just like, that start crying. I was like, that is insane. Like, that's like beyond belief. Like, how many people like the Sandlot has touched?
Yes, absolutely. And that's something that I wrote on my notes, Kobe Bryant in like big letters because it's Kobe. And I do remember seeing that interview. And I think he might have posted a tweet or something. I don't know, but I remember him, yeah, just saying that was part of his tradition. And the fact that again, you guys are filling people's homes and families and or perhaps someone that's just needing a laugh and they just watch the movie on their own. I mean, you guys have done all of this and y'all are hilarious. And that's something else too that I was like, this is why I could never do acting, but I would never be able to just not break out into laughter. Like a lot of the stuff that y'all did, said, facial expressions. But did y'all ever have a moment like that where you maybe like broke out of character and just like lost it? Or were y'all just like, nope, we got this?
Oh yeah, I did that all the time. I mean, a lot of the stuff was improvised. Like a lot of,
Oh, really?
oh yeah, like when he says, "Hey, your clothes are going out of style." They already are. That was like an improvisation. We just improvised that line. Or like when I do the whole oh, that whole thing.
Oh, yeah,
Um,
yeah. Oh my
yeah, when
gosh, I just said your yeah, yeah, sorry.
yes,
Sorry.
it's a habit. Yeah, when I did that, that came from like because we used to do your mama jokes to each other, like while we were on break. And I actually had a book. I bought a book at like Barnes and Noble of your mama
With
jokes.
your mama jokes.
Yeah. So like I would have like ammunition to tell the other guys, you know.
Dedication.
And then after like someone would say a good one, I would go like, oh, oh. And then one day the director walked by and he's like, do that again. And he's like, we're gonna use that in the film. And so they used it at the pool honey scene. Yeah, just little things were improvised. And we worked long hours, so we laughed when we got tired.
And do you have a favorite scene? Okay, how about this? Like your favorite scene to film?
My favorite scene in the film was probably the one where I went over the fence on the harness on the kid crane thing, because I really did that. And nowadays they would never allow a kid to do that. Like bring a kid about 30 feet up in the air. And like I was really like hanging like on this thing, and like I'm like, what happens if I fall? Like I'm dead because I'm hanging right over the fence, and there's like spikes coming up from the fence, and I'm supported by literally a fiberglass harness, which I actually have. I kept it from the film.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Good job. Good job.
But yeah, I'm like actually floating on this thing, and it's just attached with like steel wires, and the crew's pulling. So like one wrong slip up, and like, or if I turned over, I would have slipped out of this thing.
You were perfect for that role.
It was really dangerous, but they allowed kids to do that. The '90s, anything goes.
I know the 90s, I'm telling you, like, this is what makes 90s actors very different than nowadays. You were just like, there's no stunt double. I'm doing this and I'm not going to tilt.
Yeah, yeah. You just do it on your own, and it was scary. It was definitely like constantly hitting my head on the treehouse.
There's a lot of obviously funny memories, but you mentioned too that you remember a lot of like the off screen moments a little bit more. So do you have a favorite off camera moment?
All the stuff we did. I mean, it was like Super Nintendo was big back then, and so like we would go in each other's trailers and play Street Fighter 2. Like we'd have Street
Oh,
Fighter 2 tournaments. And we
oh.
would what else would we do? Oh, we snuck into the movie Basic Instinct. We actually, it was funny because we had heard everybody was like, yeah, Sharon Stone, she does this scene where she crosses her legs. Me and the guys were like, really? And so we were too young, obviously, to get in, because back then they really took the R rating seriously. Yeah, like you could not get in if you're under 18. So Tom's brother, who was over 18, went to the back door, opened it up, and let us in. And we got to see Basic Instinct, and it was a great experience.
Was it all of y'all? Like all of you?
Yeah, almost all of us. Yeah, I think.
I love that no one said, "Hey, there's like like eight
Yeah,
kids here."
I think Shane didn't go. Shane, who was the youngest one, I think he was 10 when he did Sandlot. But I think
Okay.
they had two movies playing at this theater. It was Fern Gully and Basic Instinct. And I think he went to go see Fern Gully.
Good job. Proud of you.
He was the one that like that was morally there.
I can imagine the reactions you guys had watching Sharon Stone. That would have been like a great scene for the actual movie.
I don't think they would have that movie back in 1962. But,
Oh, that's
yeah,
true. I take it back. Take it back.
yeah, they did have Playboy
Uh,
back then, but it was like
right.
they would like the risqueness of it was like them wearing a one piece bathing suit. You know,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
was like risque
Yeah.
back then.
And speaking of risque, even though it's not risque, but obviously the pool scene, I love how it could have easily turned into, I don't know, a moment that perhaps parents would have been like, oh, maybe my kids shouldn't be watching this scene or whatever. But if anything, I feel like parents are like looking forward to that scene. And I mean, you guys nailed every single second of that scene. So, what do you remember? I know you mentioned that it was really cold, but how long did it take to film that? Because that's obviously such a memorable moment.
It took the pool scene took probably 4 hours, 5 hours. We had to keep getting out because it was so cold in the pool that we had to keep getting out, and they put like towels over us because we were just like uncontrollable shivering, and we were like actually like dunking each other and stuff. But we were doing that to keep ourselves warm because we were like freezing. Yeah, and then the kissing scene
Yes.
that took about I think about 2 hours.
The kissing scene.
Yeah,
So they just had to redo that part, like the kissing.
well, I think he kept messing it. I think Squints kept messing it up just to keep doing it. The director's like, "Look, I know you're doing this on purpose, so you need to like get it right, okay?"
Oh my God. That sounds about right.
Yeah, that was fun.
Do you remember watching The Sandlot for the very first time?
Yeah, the very first time I watched it was the premiere. We did a premiere in Hollywood with the red carpet and all that, and we invited a bunch of like at-risk youth to the premiere.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, they got to watch the movie, and then that was a really cool experience. And then I remember the first time I watched it actually with a regular theater. Like I told my mom like, yeah, drop me off. Drop me off at the theater. I'm gonna. So I think it was like The Sandlot, Jurassic Park, and there was a couple other movies that were playing. And so I went into the theater, and I was kind of like sitting near the back. And then when the credits rolled and everybody started leaving, I walked out, and I remember there was like a group of these girls. There was like probably 6 or 7 girls, and they're like, "It's yeah, yeah." I started running through the mall, and these girls were chasing me. And that was a
Stop.
that was a
That is so cool. Was that a moment where you were like, wow, like things are about to change? Like, did you think that at all? Or were you just like, get these crazy girls away?
yeah. I mean, I was like blown away that after like all I've been through and like doing the theater and all this stuff, like I was like seeing myself on the big screen, and it was cool. It was a cool experience. And then I didn't stop acting after that. Like I just like it just seemed like it kept growing as far as like my guest starring roles and things like that after Sandlot.
Yeah. And I know you were in Boy Meets World, one of my favorite shows of all
Yeah,
time,
that was the first thing I did after I did Sandlot was Boy Meets World.
which was pretty big.
Well, it's funny because Topanga was supposed to just be a one day character, and my character was actually going to be their third friend. And yeah, like I did 3 episodes of that show, and I kind of addressed it like when I did the Boy Meets World podcast. I did that about 5 or 6 months ago. But I said like after I did 3 episodes of Boy Meets World, and then on the third episode, that was the last one where I imitated Mr. Feeney. I messed the lineup, and I told them on the podcast, I was like, I think I got let go because I messed this lineup. And they told me like, no, you didn't like get let go of that because he's just like they were trying to find the dynamic of the whole show at that point. Like after I left, then they had another kid that was sitting. It's what's called the death chair on the show. It's like every kid that sits in this chair gets axed off the
Oh
show.
my gosh.
So like that's the
Oh
reason.
no.
Like I was in the death chair. I was the first kid in the death chair. Yeah, I left the show and
Yeah.
did a lot of other stuff until I was about 17. And then when I was about 17, I got in a bad car accident. Really bad car accident. Broke both. I don't know if you saw my documentary.
I
I
did, yes, and I love how open you are about everything. And yeah, I'll let you tell that story.
Yeah, so it's kind of at the height of my career. After I think I did like 6 or 7 guest starring roles, and I was burnt out of the industry because I would wake up every day at 7, go to school, drive, go to school, and then I would drive all the way to Hollywood. And I lived about 60 miles from Hollywood, like one way. And then I would audition. I'd memorize the lines as I was driving through LA traffic, which is horrible. Then get the audition, like be, stressed out, do the audition, and then drive back home through traffic again, and then do my homework. So I wouldn't go to bed like till 1 o'clock in the morning every night. There came a point I just got burnt out and I fell asleep at the wheel. And my car went over a double yellow line and head on got hit by another car. And engine came through, crushed my legs. And when the doctors, I basically was airlifted because I died on scene. I had to be resuscitated on scene. And I was in critical condition. They airlifted me to the hospital. And literally, I passed out. I don't remember anything except waking up 4 days later. And I had was having this dream that I still remember where I was being kidnapped. And I was inside of like an RV and I was being kidnapped. And they were like holding my legs and I couldn't move. And then when I woke up, my leg was hanging from a metal pole because there was in traction. And I was trying to rip the metal pole out of my leg. And like the nurses came running in because I was yelling and they were like, no, 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 don't do that. Like that's holding your leg together.
But in your mind, you thought you were just trying to get out.
Yeah. I thought I'd been kidnapped and I thought like they put a metal bar through my leg and I was just freaking out and like there was nobody else in my room. And yeah, I'd woken up from a coma basically. Yeah, it was just after that, it was just like, I told my mom, I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm like burnt out. I just left the business and yeah, I left the business for 20 years. Just worked random jobs.
And what was the rehab like? I mean, I've interviewed people, athletes, and I've heard of every single type of surgery, rehab, whatnot, but this is way different.
It was difficult. It was, I had to relearn how to walk again because my legs had atrophied while being in the hospital bed. So like my legs literally looked like sticks when I had, was finally able to stand up. It was actually scary to look at. And I wasn't eating because I was on so much pain medicine. I had like a morphine drip. I would constantly keep pressing. So it was a lot of like walking on treadmills with a belt on, like attached to the treadmill, a lot of screaming, a lot of like pain, too weak to even pick up a toothbrush to brush my teeth. Just a lot of like, I don't know, a lot of pain. I just remember the pain of trying to walk again. While I was like doing all that, they were teaching me about diet because I had to put weight on because I was like 110 pounds or something. I ate a lot of protein. I started eating a lot of protein. I started eating a lot more meat because all I really ate in the hospital was Jello. I couldn't eat anything else. But once I started like learning how to eat and do this and that, and as I started building my body back up and building my muscles back up, I actually liked it. I liked, working out and lifting weights and things like that. So I just kept doing it and I kept lifting weights and working out and stuck with it now for like 20 years. I've been working out.
Well, I'm like taking two different things from this experience. You kind of left one love, but you met a different love, right? With working out and staying healthy.
Yeah.
And also you listened to yourself where you were like, I'm done for now. Like I'm taking a break from the industry and taking care of me. And also you used something so negative. I mean, this is like beyond negative and turned it into something so big that you still apply till this day. I mean, that's amazing. I'm proud of you.
Thank you. Yeah. It's been a long road back. Yeah.
And I mean, like, I feel like that's the first thing people always say. It's like, yeah. He's ripped. He's so strong.
It's crazy. It's crazy the reaction because I think I don't see myself like that. I think like I've looked like this for a while now. It's kind of like someone that it was like obese and they lose a lot of weight, but they still see themselves as obese in the mirror. I still see that skinny kid sometimes, which is perfectly fine. I acted a lot more when I was that skinny too. So, but yeah, definitely like every sign we go to, like, oh, you got a lot bigger, didn't you? Yeah, I did.
I did. You're like, yeah.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
I love it. No, thank you so much for sharing that. And I saw your documentary and it's so brave of you to tell that story. I'm sure it's not easy to relive at all, but I'm sure there are a lot of people that you are inspiring through that as well. Not just, the Sandlot and your work, but just that real life story and how you came back out of it.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that really inspired people was like my sister passed away a couple of years ago from a heroin overdose, and one of the things I talk about in my documentary. So I got a lot of letters from people, especially one that really hit me from this young girl that said like, you were like my childhood hero growing up, and I've been following you on social media and seeing the posts about your sister. I've been using heroin now for like 2 years. I've been on the street, and you know, I have a phone, but I barely contact my family. And when I saw what your sister's death did to you and your family, like I decided to go home and talk to my parents and kind of like reconciliate. And I stopped using after I saw your story. It was like really like I'm like, wow, this is really like impacting people. And yeah, it was awesome to see that.
That's amazing. I mean, yeah, I saw that part too, you talking about your sister Nadia, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm so sorry. And I've seen what drug use does to people, unfortunately. The fact that not only are people raising more awareness, but I mean, you're talking about another, like something that's, I mean, it's your sister. And the
Hmm.
fact that you're being open about that, whether you hear it or not. But I'm glad this person did share this story with you and they shared that they stopped using. I mean, that's so beautiful. And I applaud
Yeah.
you for being so
Thank you.
open. Yeah.
For sure.
And what advice would you give to someone who perhaps is going through addiction? And, you know, we both know it's not easy. It's not like, okay, I'm done. You know, that's it. It's
No,
a choice, right? It's a choice. Like you have to want to stop. You have to want to make that
exactly.
change. No one can do it for you.
Yeah.
So, what advice could you give to someone who's going through that?
You just definitely have to want it. You have to want to stop. And you have to realize that like you're killing your family. You're slowly killing your family. One of the things I remember with my sister is taking her from rehab to rehab, and her just leaving on her own accord. You know, the last rehab I took her to, it was a church. It was a Jewish church, and I took her there, and it seemed like a really beautiful place. It seemed like people were trying to help her. One thing about my sister, though, she's always been like, very hard headed, very stubborn, and she wants to do what she wants to do. I had a really intimate moment visiting her after she had been sober for 1 month, which was the longest she had been sober for about 4 or 5 years. And she seemed like herself again. She really seemed like herself. We were sitting in the sunshine outside, and I just gave her a hug, and I just said, I want to just tell you, I'm like super proud of you for staying here and not leaving. I feel like it's the old you again. I gave her a kiss on the head, and I left. And then literally about 4 days later, the rehab lady at the rehab called and said, like, hey, we had to let your sister out or get your sister out of here. She had someone deliver some drugs here. I just said, like, look, please don't do that. Like, it's not going to end well for her if you do that. Like, just give her one more shot. Or like, we can't do that here because there's other people here trying to get sober. I knew that was going to be the end. And, you know, fortunately it was. Like a week later, I found out. I found out in a really messed up way. I was like, actually, I was on a little league field. I was doing a signing for like a little league team, and I was like, hitting some balls with these kids. My phone rang, and it was my mom, and my mom never really calls me that often. So I was like, it's got to be something serious. I picked up the phone, and she said, like, your sister's passed away. I just literally fell to my knees on the field. Everybody thought I fainted, and I was just like, look, I got to go. Just something bad has happened. I left and had to come to terms what had just happened. Didn't seem real. So yeah, that was a real hard thing to deal with.
Yeah. Gosh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry you went through
Yeah.
that. I really am. And I applaud you for being there for her. I mean, you did everything you could. I feel for, yeah, families and people that are going through that. And again, like, yeah, but there's only so much families can do, right?
I mean, there's things I always thought about that I could do. I was like, what if I did an intervention? Like I watched that show Intervention. Like what if we would have done that? Or, but then you see those people say, no, I don't want this help. I don't want this and that. That's like the kind of person my sister is. Like I wouldn't that you have to really be somebody that wants it. And, I've seen it from friends of mine, like Sean Weiss who played Goldberg, who just overcame an addiction. He wanted it, and you just have to be very supportive of him, and that's really all you can do. Because at the end of the day, they have to want it, and they have to tell themselves, "I need to get clean."
Well, thank you for sharing your heart. I know that's not easy. And I did see, again, like in your documentary, I did see you have another sister, Lila. Yeah.
Yeah,
So beautiful. And yeah, I'm glad that y'all are sticking together because stuff like that is not for the weak of heart, that's for sure.
No, it's definitely something that having another sibling there to talk to you about it and relay off them, it helped me tremendously. Like I don't even know what I would do if I did have my other sister to talk to, or even have her in my life. Because I do come from somewhat of a dysfunctional household, so she's always been my rock. Really helped me get through things.
And that's like the most beautiful thing. I'm very close to my brother, and he's my best friend. And just like you, I'm like, I don't know what I would do without him. And I'm glad I love my sister-in-law too, his wife. I'm like, thank God you married her. It could have been
Yeah,
bad.
yeah,
Yeah, they're literally my best friends. So it's important to have family there. And if you don't, eventually you'll make friends who become like family. So I'm glad that y'all have each other.
yeah. Yeah.
Well, we're going to take it back to a little bit of acting.
All right, this took a dark turn.
No,
Sorry.
no. No, you're good. I mean, honestly, this is why I love what I do is just, I promise you there's someone that needed to hear that. I know I did. So yeah, so not at all.
Good. Good.
And speaking of that, perhaps there's some people that do want to go into acting, or perhaps they have little ones that do. And, what advice would you give to someone who is thinking about perhaps getting into acting?
I would just say make sure that they really want to do it. Make sure it's something your kid really wants to do, and you're not pushing it into them to pursue some fantasy that you may have about, you know, being in the industry. And also, I would say it's a lot different now than when I was a kid. Because when I was a kid doing this, you had to take your kids to auditions, like the parents had to take their kids to all these auditions, right? So they had to take time out of their work day and things like that. Which after COVID, a lot of things changed. A lot of stuff now is online. So like all these casting sites now that basically the one thing I would say about it is there's so much media with streaming media, regular cable, social media, TikTok, YouTube. I mean, all these different forms now. It's an oversaturated world right now. So like which is great because they're hiring a lot more people, actors for these things. But at the same time, there's a lot more people that have access to it. Like when I was a kid, if your agent would submit a headshot to a casting director for a project, and the casting director might have got a stack of like maybe 100 or 200 people, right? And they would kind of go through the headshot and resumes. They would look at your headshot, flip it over, look at your resume on the back. Be like, no, 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 okay, no, no, okay. Where now it's like there's thumbnails of thousands of actors for one project, and they have to like skim through all these actors. So I would just say like don't get discouraged because it is a very tough business. You have to have a thick skin to be in this business. Some people don't hold back on what they say, even to children. So you have to kind of develop a thick skin to do this.
And we'll be right back with some rapid fire questions.
Let's do it. I saw this on the Late Show.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I call this Stuff It Up. And usually I don't take fan questions, but since it's you, I did open it up to the public, to your fans, and we did get a lot of questions, a ton, but I'm not going to put you through all hundreds of them.
Really? There was hundreds of them. Wow.
There was a lot.
Cool.
Okay, so the first one from Tremont, his question is favorite sports movie outside The Sandlot.
Yeah, that's a good one, Trevon. Favorite sports movie outside of The Sandlot would be Field of Dreams. And I actually played on that field in 2019 against the girls from A League of Our Own.
Really?
Yeah.
That's so
actually
cool.
came out of the cornfield and everything. And came out of the cornfield and we played 9 innings. And we had a couple of the girls from A League of Our Own on our team. And we had a couple Hall of Famers on our team. Wade Boggs was on my team. Reggie Jackson was on the other team. Ozzie Smith was on my team. So yeah, it was cool. Yeah, just Hall of Fame baseball players. Like,
I love that. That's such a fun memory. Okay. Next question. Sean Pett asked, oh, you answer this. He asked, could all the actors play baseball? So wait. So how about that? So before you guys started training, did any of the guys play baseball?
We were okay. I mean, we understood the concept, but we weren't what you see in the film. Like we became that after training for about 2 months. But we weren't nearly that good when we started. No. Maybe Benny the Jet was. He was pretty good.
Yeah, someone asked, where is Benny the Jet?
He is a firefighter in Pacoima, actually, about 20 minutes from my house.
Stop. Do
And
y'all see each other?
I talked to him in 2019. I actually went to the fire station and I sat down with him and I talked to him for a couple hours and tried to get his take on everything because he wasn't there for the 25th anniversary. So I was trying to figure out what's going on with this guy. And he just doesn't want to be in the spotlight. Even when we filmed Sandlot, he was more interested in behind the scenes, talking to the crew. And I think he likes to live a more private life now. I think some of it might have to do with his brother. His brother played him at the end. So when you saw older Benny the Jet, that played for the
brother.
That was his real brother.
No wonder they looked so much alike.
Yeah, that was his real brother.
Okay.
So his brother actually passed away about 6 or 7 years ago from cancer. So I think his brother's the one that got him into acting. So I think once his brother passed away, I think he kind of didn't want to keep pursuing it anymore.
That makes sense.
And we respect that he wants to remain on the down low, and we would love for him to come out and join us. And he said it's nothing against us; it's just his personal preference.
Yeah, absolutely. Are you kidding me? I think that once you stop finding joy in something or love for it, it's time to move on to the next thing. There's no reason to force it, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, good for him. Okay, Aaron asked, favorite show to binge watch?
The Boys. Love that show. Well written, and I love the acting in the show. I think it's just an awesome show.
Courtney wants to know, how many times have you watched The Sandlot?
Oh, God. I don't even know at this point. Probably like 100. I mean, we watched it again. I'll actually watch it if it's in a theater and people are enjoying the movie and knowing all the lines. Like 2 weeks ago when we did Utah, that was actually enjoyable to watch it backstage on the monitors because they had a monitor too of the crowd, and you could see the crowd's reaction to stuff and all the funny scenes. I'll watch it like that, then I'll watch it, but otherwise I won't watch it. It's a good movie though. I admit it's a good film.
Oh, it is, yeah. But it's kind of like if you work, I don't know, like at a coffee shop, maybe you don't want the coffee from there all the time. So it makes sense.
Exactly.
Terrible comparison, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I worked in a gym for a while. I didn't even feel like working out. I'm like, maybe I shouldn't do this anymore in the gym.
Coming from you, yeah, that's better comparison for sure. Okay, last one. Charlie asked, what character do you think the Sandlot could not have been the same without?
Yeah.
Absolutely. 100%.
Well, actually, no. The Beast.
Oh, good one.
The Sandlot could not have been the same without the Beast. I mean, who would we get the ball back from? A mean old man,
Exactly.
Yeah, to the Beast.
And you've been in the industry for a while now, and it's changed, like you said. And one of the biggest things I've noticed is how, for example, I'm trying to think, like Boy Meets World, if you go watch season 2, it's like 20 episodes, right? Maybe 25. And now, like one season of whatever show, it's like maybe 8 episodes, 10 if you're lucky. So how do you feel about that?
The episodes are longer, right? They're not like half an hour anymore. They're like an hour, most of these episodes. So I think they condense more things into an hour. There are some good shows out there that I like, but I just feel like it's just a different ball game. No pun intended. It's a tougher business now, and you can actually do your own thing now and make more than a regular actor does. Like some of these people on YouTube that make millions of dollars, which is cool. It's cool if you find a niche and you do that. I've never had the desire to do YouTube, but I feel like I'm just from a different generation of acting where, you studied and you went to acting classes and you went to dance classes and you went to singing classes and you did all these things so you could actually go out there, and you had to be very skilled. Whereas I see a lot of things now where I'm just like, so this person makes $1 million for dancing around for 10 seconds. I don't understand it. Where's the talent?
I'm with you. Or like kids that are opening boxes or like unboxing things. And I'm like, what's happening? Like you have a 10 toys and you just found like 2 toys inside that box.
I've never heard of that. People do that?
Yeah.
Really?
Yes. Like kids, like there's a kid apparently that my sister-in-law was telling me. I'll ask her who he is. I'll send it to you. But apparently he just like opens boxes, like it's called unboxing, and he opens the box and there's like toys, I think, and he's got like millions of views, and
Wow.
mom
Yeah,
and
it's like
dad are really happy.
yeah, like anything goes. It's crazy,
Yeah.
but you can do anything now. It's like
Yeah,
I don't get
absolutely. I never will. And I don't have, I was just talking to, in my last interview, we were both saying how she doesn't have TikTok. I don't have TikTok either. Like I'm not on it yet. Are you though? Are you on the
it.
TikTok?
I will admit I'm on TikTok, but
Okay.
I don't dance around or do any of
Okay.
those things. I can tell you that right now. My TikToks are like I don't get it. I don't understand it. So like my stuff is like it's just me doing like showing like it's like Instagram almost for me. Like I don't even know why I have. I think I have it because I did like a video with Pat Renna, who played Ham in Sandlot, and he's on TikTok. He's got like 3 million followers on TikTok.
Does he
And
dance?
no, he doesn't dance. He
Oh,
does like
okay.
we did a funny skit. I don't know if you saw it.
Mm-mm.
Um,
I don't think so. What was it? Maybe I did.
he said we did like this event in Venice Beach for Justin Turner with the Dodgers. So we were doing this event with him, and so he's like, "Hey, I'm gonna make a funny TikTok with you guys." So he goes, "It's like him and the guy that played Timmy Timmons," and they're like, "Whoever likes Yeah Yeah in the Sandlot is crazy," or something like that. And then I come up behind, and I say, "What, bro?" And like I'm wearing like a tank top, and he goes, "Oh shit,
Oh, that's funny.
that's pretty
I
funny."
think I saw that. We'll post it. We'll link it.
Yeah, link it so people. I
Yeah.
butchered what it's about, but I mean, I don't know. I don't really go on TikTok. I just have the page. But Pat's like, you should start a TikTok page so you could post this video on there, and that's the only reason I did.
Smart.
Yeah,
Well, next time we all hang, maybe I'll do my first video. I'll make an account in front of y'all and we'll do something. It'll be
yeah,
my debut. That's the only
yeah,
way I'll do it. There you go. The only way
yeah.
I'll do a TikTok is if I feature you and maybe some of the other guys. There you go. If not, I'm not doing it.
We'll do something funny with you. Yeah, we'll make you a good TikTok.
Love it. Okay, see, I like that. All right. Now I'm like, okay, I'm not totally against it.
Yeah,
It's just under one condition. And there you go. We have it.
yeah. There you go.
I guess last thing is obviously people are always recognizing you. So, what's the craziest thing, or perhaps like something funny or a funny memory moment, something that a fan did?
It's like as far as being recognized.
Oh, yeah.
Well, no, I was going through a In-N-Out drive-through, which is a burger joint here in California, and I was going through the drive-through, and I was like, paying, I gave the lady my money, and she took my money, and then she just like sitting there staring like this, and I go, "Are you okay?" She goes, "I know you," and I go, "From where? Did we go to school together?" She's like, "No, no, no, you're Yeah Yeah from the Sandlot," and I go, "Oh wow, you recognize me?" I go, "Yep, that's me," and she goes, turns around, and she's like, "Guys, it's Yeah Yeah from the Sandlot," like to like everybody at the counter, and there's like a full restaurant of people. Everybody from the counter walks away from the people at the thing and starts handing me trays and like hats and like stuff to sign through the window.
Oh,
So I'm just like, I just imagine the people behind me like, what the
can
hell
I
is
have
going?
a number? Hello?
Hello, shut up. Yeah, yeah, signing autographs for us.
Shut.
So yeah, I'm
Oh,
just
that
like
is so
signing
cute.
hats, just like here you go, here you go. Like yeah, there's crazy crazy stories.
I love that. Love it. I'm
Yeah,
telling you. Yeah. Y'all make people happy. Y'all do.
yeah, yeah.
Well, this is a fun way to end. Marty, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Good talking to you again.
Same here. I'm just so happy we got to reconnect, and yeah, you are so strong and talented, and you've been through so many things, but love the person that you are, and thank you for making so many people happy and inspiring many as well.
Thank you.
And last question, do you have any upcoming things that you can talk about? I know you guys are doing a lot of meet and greets this year as well. Anything that you can kind of tell us, or
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if you haven't seen, as I mentioned, my documentaries in my bio on Instagram, which is Marty_York. And I have a possible movie I'm going to start filming at the end of this year with Tara Reid called Do Justice.
yay.
And
Nice.
doing a lot of stuff, as you said, signings. So we got next up is going to be Worcester, Ohio, April 16th. Be
Okay.
there with Tom Gyrie, who played Smalls, and Chauncey, who played Squints. May, I don't really have a whole lot of plans. June, we're going to Buffalo, New York for a signing. July, we've got a bunch of stuff going on. we're actually going to the Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown, July 22nd. Yeah.
Nice.
So we will be at the Baseball Hall of Fame.
That's huge.
Yeah, it's huge. So we're excited about that. We were supposed to do that for the 25th anniversary, and it never happened. So we're now finally getting a chance to do that and go to the Baseball Hall of Fame, and that's going to be a really cool event. Yeah, I just got a new agent, so I'm hoping some new roles pan out. I just took some headshots yesterday, so
that's exciting.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Yeah, thank you.
I love it. Well, we will be keeping up, and we'll be cheering you on every step of the way.
Yes, when I'm back in Houston, I will see you.
Let me know. Yes, absolutely. No, yeah, definitely. We'll make that reunion happen. That didn't happen like a month ago. So upsetting.
Yeah.
I was so sad. And y'all, it seemed like y'all had like a nice dinner too.
Yeah, we did. We went to
Papa's, was it?
What's it called? Papa's Brothers.
Yes.
And we ordered a tomahawk steak, which was like this big. Me and the guy split it. I mean, it's a huge steak. Me, Pat, and Victor split the steak.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Houston will be waiting for you, so we'll see you.
All right. You got it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.